This month, we discover what Stadium 974 is made of. We explore Qatar's culinary delights at an international food festival. And we sit down with a FIFA World Cup winner and record holder. The FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 shot to attention with the official draw. That's not all that's been going on though. There's been the FIFA Congress, packed with representatives from 211 member associations. Before that was the unveiling of the official tournament ball. It's the 14th successive ball created by Adidas for the FIFA World Cup. It's called Al Rihla, meaning the journey in Arabic, and is inspired by the culture, architecture, iconic boats and flag of Qatar.
I came to present the World Cup ball in Qatar, and my team played against Kaká's team. My team lost, but it was a lot of fun, and we managed to show the ball to the public. The ball is really fast, and I like the way it moves on the grass. Usually us goalkeepers don't like a fast ball, but in this case we can control well because of the way the ball travels.
At the time of the 72nd FIFA Congress in Doha, 29 teams had qualified for the FIFA World Cup. And representatives from each of those nations met in a workshop to learn of their administrative tasks ahead of the big event. All eyes were then on the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 draw. FIFA President Gianni Infantino and His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar, greeted the audience. The host nation waited with bated breath. They were joined in Group A by Ecuador, Senegal, and three-time World Cup finalists, the Netherlands.
I think any team is in our group is going to be tough because they are the best teams in the world. So we need to face these three. Now we know what we need to face, so we're going to start to prepare and try to be at our best level to compete and to challenge all of them.
France, the defending champions and winners on two occasions, were drawn in Group D with Denmark, Tunisia, and the winners of the Intercontinental Playoffs. Australia must play the UAE in the AFC playoff, with the winner taking on Peru for a place in the finals.
I know we are the world champions, but that was 4 years ago. We got into this next World Cup with plenty of determination. Our players are very ambitious. Our group is interesting because the Danes know the French players well. Beyond the individual quality, it often comes down to a state of mind, and it's things like this that can make a difference in great competitions like this.
In Group B, the United States face England and Iran. The Three Lions also face the prospect of a clash with British neighbours Wales or Scotland if one of them emerges from a three-way battle alongside Ukraine for the final European qualification spot. As for the USA, they'll want a reversal of fortunes from their France '98 defeat to Iran.
I think it's a good draw. I was saying that anytime you play England, it's a great event. It's a big event. They're their fans and our fans. That's going to be a great game. We know Iran is a really strong opponent from Asia. They qualified first in their group, so that's going to be a difficult game. And then it's just about waiting and see who's the third opponent. But overall, excited with the draw, ready to get started.
Reigning African champions Senegal, Morocco, Ghana, Tunisia and Cameroon were the 5 African countries in the draw. Cameroon lead the African quintet with a record 8 FIFA World Cup participations. They were picked in Group G with Switzerland, Serbia and 5-time world champions Brazil.
I think we will continue with our momentum, and I think we can go far. Because it is in the DNA of Cameroon football. Football recognises the Cameroon way of playing and how the players always show commitment and determination. And used in the correct way and place, that can make the difference.
Following the draw, the official match schedule was launched and is available on FIFA.com. The focus now moves to the tournament's opening day, when the hosts' 12-year wait will come to an end, as Qatar take on Ecuador at Al Bayt Stadium on the 21st of November. The annual Qatar International Food Festival celebrates the country's diverse food, beverage and hospitality offerings. The 11th edition of this festival, held during the FIFA Arab Cup in Qatar, brought together the nation's food enthusiasts as well as football fans from other Arab countries. All enjoyed special culinary experiences at scenic outdoor locations. People had the chance to cook, enter competitions, delight in the entertainment and attend masterclasses.
It's always been progressing. If I compare number 1 to number 11, it's incomparable. With the scale, with the size, with the appetite for the people who are visiting, the different offers, different outlets. This is the launch of Al Bida Park, which is a fabulous park in the center of Doha. All of those elements, when you combine them together, gives you a fantastic event.
The 3-week-long food festival is one of the largest and longest-running international food festivals in the region and is making an impact further afield.
I have a personal mission to let the Qatari flavor reach out to the world. The world, wherever you go, you find a Chinatown or an Indian restaurant or a Lebanese restaurant. That happened through the migration of people. So that's why I have a mission. Wherever I go, I look at the menu, you find the tiramisu. And I say, why there is no khamfaroush, which is our local dessert? And I feel that kind of jealousy, you know, I have that kind of eagerness that we need to do something hip, we need to do something cool that communicates with the youth.
It's like a different experience. Every year they try to do something different. So it's like a good place to hang out with friends. And since I'm a foodie, I like to eat all kinds of food. So I come here to enjoy all cuisines from all around the world.
Sweet Arabic desserts at the festival are particularly appealing, especially the Ali.
Ali is our favorite actually dessert, and I mean, like, when it comes to, you know, local desserts or whatever you can say, like Arabic desserts, Ali is very, very, very good. Excellent.
The festival welcomed some of the world's best chefs. René Frank, from a 2 Michelin star restaurant in Berlin, brought some innovative dessert concepts, and they're healthy too.
I think that the food is already pretty international, and it gets even like more. And if you think about sport, also it's very important that food also is good for you, and food doesn't harm you. So there, especially in my case, because it's about dessert, we really should look on the carbohydrates and on the sugar especially.
Many delicious food ideas were discussed and exchanged during the festival, providing an exciting menu for the FIFA World Cup.
Yes, the World Cup will be the cherry on the cake, and we will be preparing the cake.
Sports photography isn't only a job or a task that needs to be done, but an art and a passion. For Hosni Manoubi from Tunisia, it's also in the blood. He continues his late father's work as one of the great photographers and characters of FIFA World Cups.
A few days before my father's passing away, 3-4 days, he told me, Hosni, I broke the world record in terms of photographing in sporting events. You know, he's worked for many World Cups and Olympic Games. He even interviewed Muhammad Ali. So he said to me, after my death, I want you to pass on my message so that we can continue being the #1 in the world in our job. That was the last message my dad gave me, and it was really meant to be like that, as I was his son and learnt all from him.
Hosni caught the photography bug at an early age and was inspired by seeing his father at major sporting events.
The World Cup I remember the most when I was a kid, I'd pick the 1974 one in Germany. I remember the final game between the Netherlands and Germany, I think. My dad was there, naturally. I was home, and I think at the time I was 10 years old. So I used to see my dad on the TV, wearing his hat. And that was very surprising. That's a really nice memory I have. And then, of course, I got used to seeing him. I saw him in 1974, in 1978 in Argentina, in Spain, in Mexico too. He was always there, wearing his original clothes in every single World Cup tournament.
Bashir Manoubi became as well known for his unique appearance as he did for his photographs. Hosni enjoys maintaining the tradition of his father's sartorial singularity.
Yes, definitely. When I wear them and people come to me, I feel they love this sport. Fans love newness. They wonder, what is this guy wearing? Why does he look like this? It's innovative, and that's why when I get into the stadium, people want to have their picture taken with me. That gives me a wonderful, unique feeling, most definitely.
The late Bashir was a trailblazer. He was never far from the action in his trademark sombrero, decorated with countless sporting pins, badges, key rings and patches. At its most elaborate, weighing 40 kilograms. Hosni is proud of his father's achievements and works hard to continue his legacy.
He took more than 15 million photographs that illustrate the sports around the world. Since 1966, he had been showing us how this world looked like. And he left a legacy we keep at home. We keep his photos in 2 houses. They're full of images that represent the history of the world, as well as Tunisian sports history. We'd like to have an international museum exhibiting his global work.
Hosni's philosophy is a simple one, passed on by his father, and is the foundation to his life as a photographer.
We need to make people love each other. When you see his photographs, you may see my father with many different people. Everyone would welcome him, no matter where they were from. Hence, the message of loving everyone while embracing our differences.
As Qatar prepares to host the first FIFA World Cup in the Arab world, Hosni Manoubi is excited about the atmosphere that will be created.
While the 2022 World Cup will not only be for the Arabs, regardless of the game, when you enter the stadium, you would feel at home. But when you see the stadium full of Arab fans singing Arabic chants, as an Arab, I would be most definitely feel at home. This makes the next edition very different from all the others in the past. I'm really happy I can finally see a World Cup taking place in an Arab country.
Oman legend and Qatar legacy ambassador Ali Al-Habsi shares with us his first and fondest FIFA World Cup memories, as we continue our look back at previous tournaments through the eyes of world football personalities.
My first FIFA World Cup memory that I watched and remember in great details was the 1990 World Cup. The final that Germany won against Argentina was perhaps the event whose details I remember the most, as the final of the event was incredibly beautiful. I will never be able to forget Germany's World Cup victory in 1990, as it has remained engraved in my memory. As a German football fan, I think I will always remember Germany's victory over Brazil. Perhaps that's the game I like the most and remember best to this day.
The 40,000 capacity Stadium 974 was the 7th tournament-ready FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 venue that officially opened its doors to the public on the 30th of November 2021, the opening day of the FIFA Arab Cup. It's the first stadium in FIFA World Cup history that can be fully disassembled after the event. This futuristic structure is located in an area rich in memories of Qatar's maritime past.
This stadium tells the story of this area's history. This location specifically was previously the headquarters of Qatar Petroleum. The ships would depart from the offshore platforms here in the 1950s. Additionally, this location overlooks the old Doha port, which was the first centre for economic trade in the country to import and export. By mentioning the Doha port, one instantly thinks of containers.
Stadium 974's unique design has resulted in fewer building materials being used in its construction compared to traditional stadium development. Many of the assembled shipping containers were used to transport the required construction material to Qatar.
Stadium 974 represents the number of containers used to assemble the stadium. This number also signifies the international country code of Qatar. Therefore, the name of the stadium has multiple meanings. By virtue of the location of the stadium that falls exactly between Hamad International Airport and the Old Doha Port, which are points of communication with countries abroad. This is a sign that Qatar is a country that has always welcomed the outside world and will remain to do so.
The stadium is the only stadium that faces the waterfront, with an amazing view of the skyline and the Corniche, with proximity to Hamad International Airport. So it is the first stadium that the spectators will see once they land in Qatar or when they depart from the plane. It is also close to the metro, that will be the main mean of transportation for the spectators, and defines how compact this FIFA World Cup 2022 will be.
In addition to the compact nature of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, the innovative design of its venues has left a great impression with the legends of the game.
My favorite stadium is rather unique. Since it is made out of containers, it is called the Stadium 974. Why? Because it is original. It's beautiful, and because after the World Cup, another country will be able to use it.
The geographical location of Stadium 974 and its roof design allow the sea breeze to act as a natural cooling system.
Due to the nature of this temporary stadium, it is the only stadium among all 8 other stadiums that isn't air-conditioned. It relies on the natural cooling system with easy movement of air ventilation from the upper part of the containers and the space between the upper stands and the roof of the stadium to allow natural ventilation of the air and provide a convenient temperature for the spectators to host this event. This stadium is built by containers that will be dismantled and easily moved to any other location, whether here in Qatar or elsewhere after the FIFA World Cup.
Before that, Stadium 974 will host 7 FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 fixtures, including first-round matches involving reigning champions France and South American giants Brazil and Argentina. Well after the final whistle is blown, this cost-effective project will inspire future mega-event hosts for decades to come.
Die Weltmeisterschaft 1970 in Mexiko gewesen.
The World Cup in 1970 in Mexico. I can remember many of the games, particularly the Germany games. They won 3-2 against England after being 2-0 down. A goal from Gerd Müller, one from Uwe Seeler with a back header. The semi-final against Italy, one of the greatest games in World Cup history, which Germany lost 4-3 after extra time. And of course, the final between Brazil and Italy, with Pelé, along with other great players from both countries. And those are the memories from the first World Cup which I really remember and saw properly for the first time at the age of 9.
Wahrgenommen habe, ich war damals 9 Jahre alt.
12 years later, a 21-year-old Lothar Matthaus found himself on the global stage with 2 appearances for West Germany in the FIFA World Cup Spain 1982. The German midfield general had established himself as an indispensable member of Die Mannschaft ahead of the 1986 tournament in Mexico. His first FIFA World Cup goal in his 6th World Cup match is still remembered fondly in his homeland.
Wir haben in Monterrey gespielt, es war sehr warm, es war fast 5.
We played in Monterrey. It was very hot. It was almost 50 degrees Celsius. The game was very even. Morocco had got off to a good start in that World Cup. We knew about their strengths, and that's why we were a bit cautious in our play. Then we got the free kick in the last minute. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, our captain, put the ball down. But I saw that the goalkeeper was still putting his wall together, and I thought now or never. And I just took the ball off the captain. I don't know what would have happened if it hadn't gone in. In the last minutes of such an important game, it was more or less a final. And that's why it was perhaps one of the most important goals that I scored for Germany.
Der wichtigsten Tore, die ich je für Deutschland geschossen habe.
West Germany moved on to reach their 2nd consecutive final. Matthaus and co had a monumental task to overcome a Diego Maradona-inspired Argentina.
Wer gegen Diego Maradona bestehen wollte, musste.
Whoever wanted to win against Diego Maradona had to be very good, had to be very concentrated, very focused. Because Diego Maradona at the time was simply the best player in the world. And that's why I think that even when he didn't shine in the final, as he had in the World Cup as a whole, this was for me the hardest game to play against anyone. But against Diego Maradona, you have a certain enjoyment, a degree of zeal. Going up against him, trying to negate him, taking him out of the game. It was always a great challenge. And that's why I'd say 1986, that game against Diego Maradona, against Argentina in the final, was one of my hardest jobs.
Gegen Argentinien im Endspiel war eines meiner härtesten Aufgaben.
4 years later, West Germany, led by Captain Matthaus, was primed for glory.
1990 was, of course, a great tournament, not just because we won the World Cup, but as a team we came in peak form. We had a good team spirit.
Wir hatten einen guten Teamspirit
in Italy, in the first group game against Yugoslavia, that we won 4-1. I scored 2 goals. They were both good goals, but the second, to make it 3-1, I think that this one became a part of history for us Germans in the 1990 World Cup. With this goal in the first game, running from my own half the length of the pitch, and then the shot from 25, 30 yards, such an important goal against Yugoslavia, who at the time was such a good side. To make it 3-1, putting the game to bed. And I think that this became a symbol for us Germans and what we carried through the tournament.
Durch diese Weltmeisterschaft getragen hat. Natürlich war es für mich dann noch.
Naturally, it was special for me, as I was playing for Inter Milan at the time. Our first 5 games were at Inter's stadium. For me, it was like having 5 home games. Then a game against England in Turin, and the final in Rome. It was a World Cup at home for me, not in Italy, but at home in Italy. I think that this was the best time in my career because of the experience I gained in Italy.
Durch meine Erfahrung, die ich in Italien.
Matthaus was part of 2 further German campaigns in 1994 and 1998, increasing his FIFA World Cup appearances to a record 25 matches in 5 different host nations.
Ich glaube, Fußball ist auf der ganzen Welt so.
I think that football is at home all over the world. And that's why I think that it's good that football events are not only held in Europe and South America, as has been the case for the past 20 or so years. Other regions, such as the Middle East and Far East, have also been selected. The 2002 World Cup took place in South Korea and Japan, 2010 in South Africa. And I think that every country, every area of the world has the right to host the World Cup at some point. That's why I think that this 2022 World Cup has been put in the right place.
2022 auch richtig platziert ist.
the FIFA World Cup's new frontier can bring about renewed hope amidst a global pandemic that the world is still struggling to deal with.
Ja, Fußball begeistert die Leute.
Well, football inspires people, and we're all hoping that this pandemic comes to an end as quickly as possible, or at least that we'll be able to contain it. Football brings countries together, it connects people, connects languages. It was the case in Germany 16 years ago. For this World Cup, even if Corona is still around, we have to fight it. We have to abide by the rules, and then I think that we'll have a World Cup in Qatar that we'll really enjoy.
Die uns sehr viel Freude bereiten wird.
Next month, we'll be in Al Rayyan to visit another iconic venue. We'll walk the last mile to experience matchday entertainment. And we'll preview the last 3 Qatar 2022 deciding qualifiers.